Luo Feng. In Zijin Wang's heart, Luo Feng is not just a rival, but a stain that must be erased to restore dignity. Zijin Wang convinces himself that Luo Feng's rise is luck, because admitting talent would feel like admitting defeat. He clings to the identity of a high-level special life form. Hello friends, welcome back to 3D Cartoon Review. Today we return to Swallowed Star, episode 209, where time stretches for centuries, yet one single inheritance can flip a destiny in seconds. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, if you had only one chance to activate a treasure land in your entire life, would you gamble early or wait until you're stronger? Luo Feng has never been the type to wait politely for fate to deliver good news. He treats time like a weapon and patience like a blade that gets sharper the longer it stays hidden. After his return from Jiuyou Zhi, he carries a harvest so rare it makes even powerful factions uneasy. He doesn't celebrate loudly because the universe rewards loud people with attention, and attention often becomes a hunting mark. Deep in his preparations, Luo Feng begins the process that will define the backbone of this entire episode. He starts gestating a third body, sealing countless resources into a quiet, unbreakable plan that needs more than 600 years. 600 years sounds like a prison sentence to ordinary cultivators, yet to Luo Feng it is a long runway for takeoff. Because in the cosmos, the one who thinks furthest ahead is usually the one who survives the longest. Before he withdraws again, Luo Feng reports to Hundun Chengzhu, the Chaos City Lord of the human race. The City Lord's calm is like the center of a storm, and his words always carry the weight of 1,000 battlefields. Luo Feng explains his gains, his risks, and the road he intends to walk, without exaggeration and without pride. Hundun Chengzhu listens, then reminds him through tone alone that powerful resources never belong to the weak for long. Luo Feng leaves with that warning echoing inside his mind, and he travels back to the sacred central region of Zhushenjiao. He arrives at Zijin, Purple Thorn Island, where violet light and ancient rules shape every breath of the cultivators living there. The air feels refined, almost sacred, but Luo Feng knows holy land does not mean peace. Holy land simply means the knives are hidden behind better manners. He meets Zhenyan Zunjie and a few familiar faces, exchanging only brief words before closing his door again. Luo Feng does not waste energy on long celebrations, because he understands something most people learn too late. If you stop to admire your own steps, you give your enemies time to sharpen their blades. So Luo Feng returns to cultivation, letting the world outside churn with rumor and jealousy like an ocean with no shore. And of course the rumors come exactly as expected, growing into wild creatures that feed on ignorance. Some whisper that Luo Feng failed in Jiuyou and returned empty-handed, barely escaping with his life. Others swear he stole a heaven-defying treasure, or that he secretly broke through and is hiding his true realm. As the story spreads, it becomes less about truth and more about what people fear the most. Among those people is Zijin Wang, an old enemy whose pride has been humiliated and left bleeding for years. He cannot attack Zhenyan Zunjie directly, so he gathers his bitterness and pours it into one name, Luo Feng. In Zijin Wang's heart, Luo Feng is not just a rival, but a stain that must be erased to restore dignity. Zijin Wang convinces himself that Luo Feng's rise is luck, because admitting talent would feel like admitting defeat. He clings to the identity of a high-level special life form, telling himself that humans are limited by blood and origin. He waits, calculating the day Luo Feng becomes immortal, because then rules might allow a public legal revenge. But behind that confidence sits an uncomfortable truth that Zijin Wang refuses to say out loud. Luo Feng keeps surviving, Luo Feng keeps improving, and every time Luo Feng moves forward, Zijin Wang's excuses begin to sound weaker. Time passes, and in the universe, 500 years can vanish like a blink under starlight. When Luo Feng finally appears again, his presence feels steadier, heavier, like a mountain that has learned how to breathe. He walks toward a place within Zhushenjiao that carries a reputation sharper than any blade. Baowu JD, the treasure land. This is not a market, not a battlefield, not a friendly training ground. This is a land of inheritances, where countless geniuses have chased miracles and left with empty hands and broken hearts. It contains 108 supreme opportunities, and each one is like a sealed door waiting for the correct key. Some doors never open, no matter how loudly you knock. Luo Feng's timing is deliberate, and that is the first lesson this episode teaches without shouting. His third body is still about 100 years away from completion, and he has not yet stepped into the next realm. Some inheritances here are open to World Lord level, and Luo Feng wants to seize what he can before future restrictions appear. He comes not as a dreamer, but as a hunter who knows which tracks matter. He begins boldly testing the most famous and most difficult peak, the highest mountain that countless beings have failed to claim. The mountain rejects him quickly, crushing his attempt with cold indifference. As if saying, "Not you, not now," Luo Feng does not rage. He does not beg. He simply turns and continues, because he respects reality more than ego. Hour after hour, Luo Feng moves through peaks and lakes, reading the land like a book written in ancient silence. He tries again and again and again. The land gives him nothing, as if it has decided to ignore his existence. By the time he reaches around the 60th mountain, more than 10 hours have passed without a single reward. And now the observers begin to laugh. Some laugh openly, some laugh behind polite expressions. Some laugh inside their hearts, because failure is entertaining when it belongs to someone else. Zijin watches too, savoring every rejection like it is a personal victory. He tells himself that Luo Feng is not qualified, and that the universe is finally showing Luo Feng his true place. But Luo Feng does not slow down. He does not argue with mockery, because mockery is cheap, and responding to cheap things makes you cheaper. He continues walking, calm and steady, as if he knows something everyone else has forgotten. In a treasure land, the longest silence often comes right before the loudest awakening. Then Luo Feng steps onto Mountain 106, and everything changes in a single breath. A deep trembling erupts, the mountain shakes violently, and the sound feels like thunder rolling through the bones of the world. In the distance, Wucaiji Guanghu, the five-colored aurora lake, begins to rotate like a celestial wheel. Aurora light pours outward, weaving through the air like ribbons pulled from the hands of gods. The pressure grows heavier, and suddenly space itself feels as if it has been gripped by an invisible fist. Cultivators around the mountain stiffen, their expressions changing from amusement to shock, then from shock to fear. Because this is not a normal sign. This is the kind of sign that means an inheritance has awakened and is choosing its inheritor. And then the cleansing happens. One by one, every other cultivator on the mountain is forcibly expelled, thrown away as if the mountain is clearing dust from a precious altar. People are blasted outward, their feet leaving the ground, their bodies flying through space with no ability to resist. Only Luo Feng remains. Only Luo Feng stands within that roaring, shining phenomenon like the center of a storm. In that moment, the laughter dies completely, mockery dries in the throat. Even breathing feels loud, because no one can deny what they are witnessing. The treasure land has made a decision, and the decision is Luo Feng. A black world ring appears, floating before him with a quiet authority that needs no explanation. Luo Feng accepts it, and when his consciousness enters, the scene inside nearly steals the air from his lungs. There, sealed like an ancient legend, rests a colossal silver ship, longer than 120,000 kilometers. Its surface glows with a metallic radiance, vast and cold, like a frozen river of moonlight stretched across eternity. This is not an ordinary weapon. This is not an ordinary vehicle. This is a top-tier flying palace treasure, the kind designed for survival when the universe decides to hunt you personally. Physical attacks are nearly isolated, crushed and blocked by layers of defense built like fortress walls. Soul attacks are weakened, dulled, reduced as if striking through endless fog and steel. The ship's turning may not be perfect, but its straight-line acceleration is terrifying, built for escape and pursuit beyond common logic. Even a universe master would struggle to destroy such a treasure quickly, because treasures like this are built to endure despair. Luo Feng understands instantly what this means. It means survival. It means distance. It means he can live long enough to become the nightmare his enemies fear. He names the ship Yinhe, the Milky Way, and the name feels like destiny placing a crown quietly on his head. Outside, the witnesses can only stare, and even Shi Jingwang's jealousy begins to twist into something sharper. Because this is no small gain. This is the kind of treasure that shifts how entire factions evaluate a person's future. Then an aurora thread condenses and touches Luo Feng's forehead, sending an inheritance message directly into his mind. The voice feels ancient, amused, and distant, as if the speaker is laughing from beyond death and time. It speaks of harsh qualifications, of terrifying achievements, and of requirements few can meet in an entire lifetime. This inheritance was not handed out casually. It was earned through a path of blood and endurance. Later, when Luo Feng searches the virtual universe, he confirms the identity behind the inheritance, and the truth is chilling. The owner is Zijin, a heaven-born beast god, one of the 8 earliest and most ancient beast gods of Zhu Shenjiao. Even a being born divine still fell in the end. That fact is a cold blade across the throat of every cultivator who thinks talent guarantees safety. Soon after, Tianyu Wang arrives with an invitation from Zhenyan Zunjie to celebrate Luo Feng's success. He also reveals a crucial rule that strikes like thunder. Each inheritor can only trigger one opportunity in their entire lifetime in this treasure land. One activation, one reward, and after that, even if you return stronger, the land will remain silent forever. Luo Feng understands instantly, and that clarity is part of what makes him terrifying. He does not greedily search for more. He does not argue with the rules. He simply stops, because he knows a wise hunter leaves the forest after taking the best prey. And that choice, calm and controlled, makes the onlookers feel even more unsettled. When Shi Jingwang hears the news, rage and jealousy crash inside him like a collapsing star. Yet he forces himself to calm down by repeating the same poison again and again. Luo Feng is lucky. Luo Feng is human. Once Luo Feng becomes immortal, he will be inferior to a special life form like Shi Jingwang. But the universe does not care about self-comforting lies. And soon, Hundun Chengzhu summons Luo Feng again, pulling him from celebration back into ruthless reality. The Chaos City Lord praises Yin. He's value, but his next words carry the cold truth behind every cosmic miracle. Heaven-born special life forms are hunted because their bodies are priceless resources for cultivation and refinement. Even the legendary Sui Luo Jing, the blood Luo crystal, traces back to the remains of a fallen beast god. The universe harvests power. If you die, your greatness can become someone else's treasure. Hundun Chengzhu warns Luo Feng that only constant strengthening will make him a pillar of humanity, not just a talented flame. Then he states the brutal rule clearly. Improving life gene level by 100 times is the normal ceiling for living beings. To surpass that ceiling, you need extreme paths, like seizing special life forms or gestating outrageous clones at unbearable cost. Hundun Chengzhu urges Luo Feng, as a Haiyuje, to fuse blood Luo power to the extreme before becoming immortal. He even provides beast god blood support, because chances like this do not return politely. Luo Feng acts immediately, turning every gift into measurable growth. His Jinjiao Jusho, the golden horn beast body, fuses around 380 blood Lu crystals, pushing blood Lu power deeper. His life gene level rises into the terrifying region of 6,400 times, making his foundation feel like a monster's skeleton. He estimates that 1,000 crystals could push him toward 10,000 times, approaching a realm where ordinary geniuses become meaningless. His original human body faces a lower ceiling, struggling around 82 crystals, where further fusion becomes nearly impossible. With beast god blood support, he obtains 30 drops, then carefully fuses 18 drops, compressing them into his body like refined thunder. This brings him to the equivalent of 100 crystals, and his life gene level surpasses 3,000 times. Yet Luo Feng understands that crystals and blood are boosters, not the true engine of his road. The true engine is the Juji Median, the secret manual that turns potential into reality, and reality into terror. Resources without method are just glitter, but method with resources becomes a blade that can cut through the universe's rules. Luo Feng continues cultivating with steady focus, letting years stack like bricks, building something that will not collapse easily. Then, after more than 600 years, the moment arrives that makes this episode feel like a door opening into a new world. The golden shell of the gestating third body cracks, and the air around it feels like it has stopped moving. Then it breaks open completely, and a gigantic figure emerges, nearly 10,000 kilometers tall, jade-like skin threaded with faint bloodlight patterns. It is not an energy form, not an illusion, but a true flesh and blood life form, heavy with ancient pressure. Luo Feng feels genuine joy, because only a flesh body can cultivate the Jiuyou Median at the deepest level. This third body is the Yu High body, the Yu Sea flesh life form, born from a terrifying lineage linked to Jiuyou itself. Its baseline gene level is around 300 times, lower than legends like the World Tree, which makes its gestation possible. But what makes it terrifying are its two innate talents, gifts that reshape battlefields and even civilizations. And here's a question for you. If you could choose only one talent, would you pick domination in battle or the power to create an entire race? The first talent is Hua Hai, sea transformation, dissolving the body into a blood ocean that expands to about 100,000 kilometers in diameter. In that ocean form, it influences surrounding space-time, creating an oppressive domain that feels like a forbidden zone. The second talent is Chuangzhao, creation, allowing gene recombination to create new life forms while in ocean form. That means the Yu Hai body can eventually form a loyal race, a tribe born from Luo Feng's own essence. But the universe never gives without demanding payment, and Luo Feng soon discovers a harsh limitation. He cannot be both sea and humanoid at the same time. He must be one or the other, ocean or body, not both, and that trade-off carries terrifying implications, because it explains something he has long wondered about, something that separates him from the true monsters of Jiao Zhi. Luo Feng realizes the true blood sea likely belongs to an immobile, fixed body that expands endlessly, sacrificing movement to gain eternity. What travels as the Nine Nether Lord is likely an energy avatar, born from that sea's terrifying source, and sent out to walk the universe. That explains near immortality, endless regeneration, and the impossible ocean scales recorded in ancient knowledge. And it also explains why Luo Feng's own sea feels too small, no matter how strong his foundation becomes. He tests Hua Hai again and again, but his blood ocean refuses to expand beyond that 100,000 kilometer diameter. He remembers that Jiuyou princes at World Lord level can reach oceans tens of millions of kilometers wide. At immortal level, they reach hundreds of millions, and at universe venerable level, they can reach tens or hundreds of billions. The gap is so vast it feels impossible, as if the universe is hiding a key principle that he has not yet unlocked. And that mystery becomes the final hook, leaving the audience with one burning question. How does a sea grow from 100,000 kilometers to hundreds of billions without breaking reality itself? What technique? What law, what sacrifice, or what inheritance makes that expansion possible? Luo Feng stands at the edge of his own crimson ocean, staring into the blood-red horizon, feeling both triumph and hunger. He has yin. He has improved his genes. He has birthed Yu Hai. Yet he knows the universe's cruel truth. Even gods fall, and only relentless growth can keep him standing. And that's Swallowed Star, episode 209. A chapter of inheritance, evolution, and a terrifying mystery that promises even bigger storms ahead. If you enjoyed this retelling, hit like so this episode reaches more Swallowed Star fans across the world. Comment below. Do you think Luo Feng will sacrifice mobility like Jiuyou, or will he find a third path that breaks the rules completely? Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next episode is where this inheritance begins to reshape every enemy's decision. Thanks for watching 3D Cartoon Review, and I'll see you in the next chapter of the universe's most ruthless climb.